Alrighty, so the next book on my list is going to come of no surprise to anyone, and it's gonna be a fuck. Say it with me, people. Say it with me. Monstrous Volume like. Hey, how's it going? How's life? My name is Sophia. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be doing my most anticipated releases of 2022. Now for this video, most of these books are going to be by authors that I've already read and loved, or they're going to be sequels to books that I've already read. I will be splitting this video into two parts. So the first half of the video are going to be books that have release dates, and the second half of the video are going to be books that don't have release dates. Quick disclaimer, these are going to be the release dates that I have as of right now, and they are subject to change. But without further ado, let's get into my most anticipated releases of 2022. The first book on my list is going to be Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston, and this comes out on February 1st. I read Amari and the Night Brothers last year and I really loved it. In the book, you are following our main character Amari, whose brother has gone missing, and everyone has given up on trying to find him except for Amari. One day she gets a mysterious package from her brother introducing her to this magical world that lives alongside the real world. Amari then decides to try to join up with this secret society known as the Bureau, and our story goes from there. Like I said, I really loved Amari and the Night Brothers. I loved Amari as a main character. I loved the relationships. The relationships made me feel some type of way. And I really loved the magic system, the whimsy. Everything about this book was just amazing and phenomenal. And the ending broke my heart, and so I am intrigued to see how B.B. Alston picks up from where the first book left off. But also I am scared because this man was not afraid to crush my spirit, and so I am very excited to pick up the next book in this series. The next book on my list is going to be Daughter of the Wolves by K.S. Veloso, and this one comes out on March 15th. I have absolutely no idea what this book is about. All I know is that it is set in the same world as the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. And if it is anything like that trilogy, I know that I will absolutely love and adore it. The only other thing that I know is that this is also a prequel to Chronicles of the Bitch Queen, and so I'm super excited. I am super hyped. I am super intrigued to read this book next. The next book on my list is going to be Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor by Shiran J. Zhao, and this one comes out on May 3rd. All I know about this book is that you are following our main character Zachary, who has the spirit of an emperor living inside of him, and he has to go on a mission, I believe, to save the world. That's like a super vague synopsis. I don't know anything else about this series, and so I'm very excited to be picking this one up. The author also wrote Iron Widow, which I read last year and I really loved. I thought it was a fun, fresh, unique take on YA. And so I am excited to see what they do with this middle grade story. The next book on my list is going to be Lachlan's by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this comes out on June 21st. This is the third book in the Founders trilogy. I read Foundryside a couple years ago and I really loved it. In that story, you are following our main character Sanchia, who is a thief and is hired to steal a magical object. She manages to steal this object. However, she now has mercenaries hunting her down and trying to kill her for this object. I loved the first book. I loved the character dynamics. I loved the relationships. I loved Sanchi as the main character. I thought that the world building and the magic system was very intriguing. In this world, you can give inanimate objects life by scribing on them. And so let's say you have a wheel and you want it to move. You can scribe on the wheel that it's rolling down a hill, and that inanimate object will act as if it's rolling down a hill. It's a very complex magic system. This was a terrible explanation of it, but like, if that sounds intriguing to you, I highly recommend picking this up. I still haven't read Shorefall. That book has been sitting on my shelf for over a year now, and I still haven't read it. Which is shameful because I loved the first book so much. And so the plan is to hopefully get to Shorefall before Lachlan's comes out, so I can just dive straight into the next book. The next book on my list is going to be probably no surprise to anyone, and that is going to be Babel by R.F. Kuang, and this comes out on August 23rd. Now, here's the thing. I read the Poppy War trilogy last year, and I freaking loved that trilogy. Like, it was so good. It broke my heart. It made me cry. It made me suffer. It just gave me everything I needed in an adult fantasy. And as a result, R.F. Kuang has now become an auto-buy author for me. And so, do I know anything about Babel besides the fact that it's dark academia? No. But am I still excited and hyped and intrigued to pick this up? Yes. I literally know nothing about Babel besides the little snippets that R.F. Kuang gives us on Twitter. And so I am just preparing my soul and my spirit for the devastation and the heartbreak. The next book on my list is going to be Into the Riverlands by Nevo, and this one comes out on October 5th. This is going to be the third novella in the Singing Hills cycle, which I loved. I read The Empress of Salt and Fortune and the other book, I'm forgetting its name, but When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, that's its name. But I read those two books a couple of years ago and I loved them. I really loved the writing style. There's just something about it that's just so poetic and beautiful, but like, it's also very accessible. So if you're someone who's maybe nervous or intimidated by lyrical writing styles, I would highly suggest picking this up. In this series, we are following our main character Chi, and they are a clerk, and so they travel around the empire gathering stories. And so the formats of these novellas are basically stories within a story, and I love it so much. I am very excited and very hyped to pick up the next book in this series. There's just something about it that's just, it's so comforting. I think that's like the best way I can describe it. It's like a warm cup of hot chocolate on a cold winter's day, you know? But yeah, very hyped to be picking this one up. The next book on my list is going to be Silverborn, The Mystery of Morrigan Crow, and this comes out on October 13th. In the first book, Nevermore, you are following our main character Morrigan Crow, who is prophesized to die on her 12th birthday, but on the day she's supposed to die, she is whisked away by a man named Jupiter North to this magical, whimsical place known as Nevermore. And our story goes from there. Something about middle grade, man. Middle grade fantasy is one of those genres that I rarely pick up, but when I do, I am just like I need more of this in my life. I loved the first 2 books in the series. The magic, the nostalgia vibes, and the characters. It's just a really fun time. I feel like as the series progresses, it gets a smidge darker, and I am excited to see where the author takes this. I especially love the way Jessica, this is not a review, but I'm excited to be picking this one up. The next book on my list is going to be Bloodmark by Tracy Deonn, and this one comes out on November 5th. In this book, you are following our main character, Bree Matthews, whose mother has passed away in a car accident. Bree manages to get into her mother's university, and she starts discovering this underground secret society magical situation going on. Bree is also under the impression that her mother died under mysterious circumstances, so she starts to uncover the mystery behind her mother's death. I read Legendborn last year. It was one of my favorite books that I read last year. I loved Bree as a main character. She's very hard-headed, she's very stubborn, but like she's also a precious little bean. I also really enjoyed the way Tracy Deonn explored themes of race, microaggressions, as well as generational trauma. I thought that those themes were expertly handled, and I could personally relate to Bree. I'm very excited to see how Tracy Deonn handles these themes in Bloodmark. It also ended on a cliffhanger, and so I am excited, to say the least. I'm not gonna lie, I'm also a bit nervous because if you know anything about my most anticipated releases, cough cough Redemptor, you will know I was sorely disappointed.
And no shade. No shade.
So I am excited, but cautiously so. Alrighty, so this half of the video is going to be books that don't have a release date, at least not yet as of this time that I am filming, but let's get into it. The first book I have to talk about is going to be Dawn of the Coven by Alexis Henderson. This is the sequel to Year of the Witching. I read the first book, I believe last year, and I really enjoyed it. Wait, let me tell you the synopsis. In the first book, you are following our main character, Emmanuel, who lives in this small town known as Bethel. Emmanuel is considered an outsider because she was born out of wedlock, but also she is biracial. Surrounding the town of Bethel, you have the dark woods, and the people aren't allowed to go into the dark woods for reasons unknown to them. One day, Emmanuel finds herself in the dark woods, and she starts uncovering some dark secrets about the woods, the town, as well as her mother's past, and the story goes from there. I really enjoyed the book The Year of the Witching last year. I thought it was a very well written book. I believe this is also a debut, if I'm not mistaken. If so, incredible debut. I loved how I'm tempted to do a review. Like, I don't know why, but yes, I read it, I loved it, I enjoyed it. Excited to read the next book in the series. The next book on my list is actually going to be a graphic novel, and this should come as a surprise to no one, and that is going to be Monstrous Volume 7 by Sana Tegeda and Majori Liu. In the graphic novel Monstrous, we are following our main character, Micah Halfwolf, who is half human, half arcanic. Within this world, arcanics are magical creatures that are sold into slavery and have their organs harvested for their magical properties. Micah also has this little this little tiny issue, a small issue of having a demon living inside of her. So the beginning of this graphic novel series is following Micah as she tries to uncover the secrets of why she has this monster living inside of her. Also within this world, there is a war brewing between the Arcanics as well as the Federation, which are the humans of this world. I love monstrous more than life itself. So honestly, I feel like at this point, there's no point in putting monstrous on my most anticipated releases, because I feel like it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, Sophia, we know. But yeah, excited to have my soul crushed. I still need to read volume 6 though. Like, I haven't been ready to read volume 6 yet, but I'll read it soon-ish. The next book on my list actually doesn't have a title yet, and that is going to be the sequel to Iron Widow by Shiran J. Zhao. In the first book, we are following our main character Wu Zetian, who decides to join the military to get revenge because her sister was brutally murdered by this asshole. Within this world, humanity is constantly being attacked by alien forces, and so as a result they harvest the bodies of these chrysalises so they can fight in order to protect their homeland. I thought that Iron Widow was a fun, fascinating book. I feel like it added something interesting to YA that I personally hadn't seen before, and the polyamorous relationship was just so sweet and it was so precious and I loved it so much, so freaking much. The first book does end on a cliffhanger, so if you're interested in picking it up but you hate cliffhangers, maybe wait until closer to the release date of the second book before picking it up. I'm very excited to see what the author does in the sequel. The next book on my list is going to be Warrior of the Wind by Sui Davies Okungboa. This is the sequel to Son of the Storm, which I read last year. In the first book, you are following our main character Danso, who is a scholar living within this empire. Within this empire, magic and texts about magic are forbidden and are kept hidden from the people. One day, Danso witnesses somebody doing magic when he shouldn't, and so as a result, he is now on the run from the empire. I am excited for Ishime in this next book. I am excited for Ishime to become an unhinged queen. Ishime in the first book was like a murderous bitch, and I love that for her. She gave me life. And so I'm excited to see where the author takes her character development. The first book also deals heavily with themes of identity and privilege. I'm intrigued to see how he handles those themes in the next book, or if he handles different themes in the next book. But yes, the first book was definitely a fun time. I'm excited to pick up the second book, and in this household we believe in Ishime supremacy. Thank you very much. The next book on my list is also a sequel, but it is the only book where I have not read the previous books in the series, and that is going to be The Faithless by C.L. Clarke. Now, I have been meaning to read The Unbroken for what feels like ages, but I just haven't been in the mood for it. I'm a mood reader, and so reading is just a constant struggle, okay? I feel like this series has the potential to become a new fave. Do I know anything about it besides we're following our main character Terrain and she has biceps? No, I know nothing else about it. But I feel like from the way that my friend Tammy speaks of this series, I feel like I'll really enjoy the first book, and I'm hoping that the second book will have the potential to be better than the first book, which is why it's on this list. That's a long-winded way for me to say I just need to read the first book. So yeah, super excited for what? I don't know, but it's on this list. So the final book on this list does not have a title yet. All I know is that it's going to be by Madeline Miller, and it's a Persephone retelling. Now, I read Circe and I freaking loved it. I know some people read Circe and they didn't like it, and they're like, she does absolutely nothing but hang out with pigs. And I'm just like, yes, but that book is perfection, okay? And then I read The Song of Achilles, and I also really enjoyed it. Didn't love it as much as Persephone, but I still think it's a really great and well-written book. And so I feel like Madeline Miller has the potential to become an auto-buy author for me. And so I am very excited and very hyped to see what she comes up with. That was it for my most anticipated releases of 2022. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know some of your most anticipated releases. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope to see you guys soon with another video, and until then, I will see you soon. Bye.